My hands together. Ready? Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo buddhaya, namo dhammaya, namo sanghaya. We pay homage and respect to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened Gautama Buddha. So, everyone can see me. I apologize not holding frequent talks lately as getting over the flu here. As a matter of fact, a couple days ago, a student invited me to Olive Gardens, and I was really struggling. I don't think you can pick up the obstruction in the throat, all this flu symptoms. But anyways, um, what prompted today's talk is Miss Veronica, and Miss Veronica has been one of our champion donors um, with her most recent donations of $500 the past hour. This came as a surprise because number one, we don't have a lot of donors, and number two, I've made it a uniform policy to quickly and effectively disclose to everyone when we have donors that donate more than $100 or more. That keeps the purity and the integrity of the Vinaya and also within this holy order of the Theravadan Buddhist monks. So present with me is Stephen, who is a full-time student and now under my direct supervision, which is a rare thing. Um, and perhaps Project Stephen will last longer than previous students who you all have seen come down here, such as the students from Colorado. And so, so today I want to talk about uh, what our fundings do for students locally, what the fundings do for students across the world, for the monastic order, for the junior monks who rely on these fundings for educational things that they need, like laptops and books and so on. Um, Furthermore, and why it is important, and the question of how Buddhism can sustain itself through the upcoming generation to come. So I want to just incorporate all of that together. So Stephen started out 5 years ago as my assistant. And again, the difference between an assistant and a student are not the same. An assistant assists the venerable in his projects. Given some of these assistants who were still in high school at the time, they tend see the flu thing, remember? So students who are in high school at the time of holding the title of an assistant, usually when I'm giving talks, they do this. When I'm talking about the Four Noble Truths, the Noble Eightfold Path, they're just in La La Land. However, the selection standards and the standard of a sustained assistant is that they have to be reliable, dependable, on point. They have to care. They have to pick up their phone. They have to go through all these metric measurements of system in order to be an assistant and sustain as an assistant, the retainment of an assistant to the venerable, an assistant to any venerables, or I can pass them along to another venerable to assist with and for. So therefore, it is impressive, Stephen, just in case you did not know what you did right, right? Because kids your age, and when I was your age, I was like, what am I doing right? What am I doing? What am I doing wrong? So those are some of the key trademarks, rare qualities for a young man like Stephen here to be on point, right?
Yep.
Because if you were not on point, you would know it.
Yep.
Right? And you've seen how I manage things, and simply put. Uh, so, anyways, now that he has transitioned over as a full-time student, tell the people what program I have put you in and what you have been doing so far.
So the program that I've been going through is the CBT program, and what I've been doing is just taking notes every day and reading. You want to explain to them my notes?
Typical 20-year-old, right? Yeah, yeah. Explain to them what you've learned so far, how you applied it to your life, how you have used it with your friends, and all that good stuff. Goodness, you're practicing public speaking. You told me that, remember? Go. Have it. Let me go grab the other book so I can show people. But talk.
All right. So today, some notes that I wrote down was about mindfulness, and mindfulness is connected to Zen Buddha. So mindfulness is an art of being present in the moment, which not a lot of people are. They're always thinking ahead or thinking in the past. Um, and when you're mindful, you suspend your judgment about what you're feeling, thinking, and absorbing through your senses. So that just goes again and just living in the presence. And I have an example here for you guys. The train, it's called the train example. So the train represents your thoughts, and each carriage is a feeling or thought that is specific. So visualize yourself watching the train pass without hopping in the carriage. So that's kind of how like everything in life goes with your feelings. And more notes I got is a concentration sheet. This one I thought was really helpful. So you use task concentration to direct your attention outwards, and remember to focus on your task. So a lot of people, they don't really say focus and have like ADHD, always looking at different things, not focus on one thing instead. So this is really important right here. And to practice this, you would need to answer, who were you with? Where were you? And what were you doing? Just answer those three questions and it could help you get better concentration.
Hold it. Hold it. Another assistant and student just said, read it.
Yeah.
Read it out loud. People can't don't know what's going on here.
Very proud of Steven, is what they said.
Go on. He's watching. Ty's watching.
What up, Ty? um, so here's another concentration exercise. It's for speaking. So when you're speaking, focus on your feelings, sensations, and thoughts. Then refocus your attention towards what you're saying and towards the listener, being aware of their reaction.
Okay. All right. Pause. Steve could go on the whole night with. Let me see that with his notes. Okay. Now, initially, he took very crappy notes, and then I was like, "What in the hell?" And I wanted to capture this moment to tell all of you why they take crappy notes. Why do kids take crappy notes?
I'd say some of them aren't learned it.
How so? What's wrong with our public school?
They don't teach you. Like, yeah, they teach you, but they don't really show you how to get in depth to really take good notes.
So therefore, apparently, there's a lot of things that is new to me. You all have to know. You all have to know. Let me silence this. You all have to know.
I see it.
Read it to the people.
You said, my dog. Yes, sir. Get it, big dog.
Their language. Their language, people. So, like I am just now. I am just now catching up to what's going on with this emerging generation of how they study, what do they retain, how do they use it, and the measurement of public school, the effects of public school system. content application onto the young lives that is emerging out of high school. Now, Steve is enrolled at St. Pete College also, which is also horrific. Um, and so a lot of these things are news to me. I mean, because I've been a monk for 7, 8, going on 8 years now, and now going back to studying this cohort about what's going on here. So I examined them based on the notes that they take. So if there's in the midst of my schedule, I ask them to do the assignment. They do the assignment. Of course, it's half-assed because they don't know how to do it. And then I find out, oh, you this what the hell's going on here? Then I start to dissect the problem, and then we pinpoint the problem, and then we try to improve what's happening. So how did you started to improve note-taking process?
So I basically took it upon myself and looked up everything, the process of taking notes, so I could better myself at taking notes, so I could really know what I'm reading, I guess you could say, and writing down everything that's important, not just writing everything down. And yeah, that's what I took. That's the way that I took.
When I was growing up, this is my whole life I've been taking notes. My whole life I've been keeping a journal. I Somewhere down the line I'm going to make these journals and diaries public so you all can see my journey, the cultivation of this monk, so that you guys are like, whoa, what was he thinking when he was 10, 12, 14, 16? How did he get in trouble? How did he deal with his anger? How did he deal with his parents and so on? Because these things are so rare nowadays. I mean, kids they can't even write because they type nowadays. They type and they text. So therefore, there is no therapeutic effects. Just so when you see your pen. So when you actually write, do you feel this? Do you feel the stress when you're writing? Like when you're thinking about something and you're writing it out,
Yeah.
you see your thoughts play out, right?
Yeah.
And you feel the stress, or you're like, what the hell's going on here with myself, with my feelings, with my thought? Why am I pressing so hard on the pen? Right?
That's true.
Right?
Yep.
So the pen calligraphy gives you clues about that, gives you clues about what's going on with your emotions. And then once you write it out, don't you feel good about it?
Yeah.
You feel like you don't have to hold it in anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Reducing your thoughts and feelings on paper, transferring it on paper. So, so yeah, there's a lot of measurements and a lot of improvements, but it needs constant supervision. Now, for the other 100 students that I am overseeing, hundreds with an S, okay, more than 100, okay, check in with me weekly on a weekly basis. And they don't really get the full benefits of local students here. And out of the local students here, only a few that I record live, as evident on my YouTube. All of the evidence is mostly on YouTube. Just because for privacy purposes, and there are students within um, certain programs, and to protect the identity and to protect the innocence until they are mature enough to talk about it, until they're mature enough to give permission um, to inspire other people by and through their stories. But for the rest of them, I've started planting the seeds a long time ago. Steve was able to walk in this very room when Mike was here on the screen. And do you remember what Mike said about me? About how?
Yeah.
Oh, tell the people what Mike said.
They said, Mike said, like back then, like what you used to do.
All the good things.
All the good
things. How he was. How I changed his life and all
He
that.
said, he said he was a really good leader and a good mentor. Showed him the way to become better as a person.
And he was my good friend, and we all grew up as kids, and we did what kids do: get in trouble, run away from cops. But I always encouraged everybody to do good.
Yeah, right.
And heck, out of 10 of them, only a few came back. to be grateful enough to express what I've done for them. The rest of them, I think they feel the rest of them, I don't think rise to the standards, and they know that they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they don't want to answer to me. They don't want to like come back in because there's no good news to
Yep.
share,
Yep.
right? When you don't keep the precepts, it's hard to face the one person that held you to a higher standards for you to succeed. In a way, I was a friend. In a way, I was like a big brother too at the same time. You know what I mean? And then sometimes that somewhere down the line, I'd like became a dad. I didn't want to become a dad. I didn't want to become a. I just wanted to be me, but I couldn't help. I couldn't help but to just watch everyone kind of like weed, just all the things they were doing that were not bettering themselves. They were just stagnant. They were just there, just existing, you know. And I said, y'all need to go get a job. Y'all need to do this. Y'all need to do that. I was the only encouraging voice in the whole group. So, all right. Anyways, enough of that. Um, so things are progressing quite fairly quickly. However, the amount of local students have drastically, the size in serving the local students have drastically been reduced due to the deficiencies in fundings. But you all already know this. I've already set off the alarm months ago. So I've already had my conversations with some of the local students here is that number one, we barely have enough books. This is all the books we have left actually, um, to hand out, and we could no longer at this point take any more local students should they come, just because of competing priorities and lack of fundings. My hope is that the book gets published next year, and that proceeds goes to where it needs to go, where I've spoken about where it needs to go, to pinpoint target specific to where it needs to go. We have to work with what we got, and I have to work with what I got while preserving the integrity and the purity of the Vinaya, the rules for monks. It is of great stress. Um, I think you all see it, those who could see the great stress when, like, so yesterday we went to the mall because Alex, another assistant, came. And anyways, we were in the mall and Alex had to go buy Christmas gifts, and I decided to tag along. They wanted to spend some time with me. Alex is a photographer. And so anyway, so while these two were out and about, I came across the window, and when you go back to all of the videos, yesterday's video, you see I went through a window that says "Give Joy," and I decided to stop and make a video on giving and challenging people to give this holiday, the gift of education versus buying a new iPhone. And you all can see the stress in my face is because it's a very sensitive thing when a Theravadan Buddhist monk start talking about asking for funding, because we can't ask for funding. We can only make a compelling case, and it is the people that has to be moved by such compelling case to make the donation. The only thing I can ask the people is a cup of water. That's it. I can't ask you for a ride home. I can't ask you for anything else but a cup of water. So like yesterday, I was very sick. I try to hide it when the camera comes, but I mean, you saw I was coughing earlier and all this stuff like that, but it had to be done. And most of the videos is designed as an experiment, because the burden lies on the people and the burden no longer lies on the monk, because we've already offered selfless act of service for humanity, or our whole self for humanity. Stephen, as an assistant of 5 years, have I ever stopped giving?
No, never. You always give.
Mm. Before Miss Veronica made this whopping $500, only I think like 4 or 5 times, literally 5 people, not even 4 people, have made more than $500 donations. And during my 7 years as a monk, donations did never ever exceeded $7,000. That's $1,000 a month. I'm sorry, a year. Can't do the math. What time is it? It's 10 o'clock at night. Uh, $1,000 a year. This it's no wonder why the programs is dying, right? So and there was this other experiment on Instagram where this really tall white guy holds. He's like 30 because of the beard and stuff like that. He holds a sign. Have you seen it? He says, "I'm depressed. I need someone to talk to."
I haven't seen that.
So he holds his sign, and everyone's just walking past him. They're just like, and of course you can postulate what people are thinking as they walk past this guy, which is, oh, well, you're depressed. Well, I'm depressed too. Good luck. That's what therapy's for. And just all of the self-talk or self-impression. Then he flips the signs over, and it says free money. And he tapes dollar bills and $5 bills, $10 bills, and everyone comes up to the board and grabs the money off the board. Get some money here so I can make it. Let me see this real quick. I just wanted to make my okay. So what it means is that people take more and give less. When total opposite have been said over and over again. In Buddhism, we give more and take less. And in this public experiment, where somebody literally just hold the camera and all this is unfolding, literally unfolding right there in public. It looked like somewhere, it's got to be New York when you look at it. We were just grabbing it. It was heartbreaking, but it also confirmed my assumption, my long assumption about our society, where it's at and where it is headed, and the hypothesis of how Buddhism going to survive in America. Because do you not see the amount of shootings that we have? Do you not see how kids are just dueling it out with law enforcement? No respect for law enforcement, no respect for teachers in public school. They are it's like the hell realm manifesting. It's like the hell realm manifesting. So that deserves wise reflection there, folks, on those who wants to make a difference and knowing where the difference lies in the clinical application of Buddhism, uh, Buddhist programs, Buddhist schools, Buddhist colleges, Buddhist universities. I just don't know. My prognosis for humanity, my prognosis for the United States is guarded. It's not a good thing. The trajectory where we are headed with policing, with leadership, with management, with business, with technological advances, it's not a good thing. And I'm saying that, and I'm also reserving a lot of adjectives here until the time is right to expand on certain talks. But if you review my previous talks, you get a glimpse of what I mean and what is happening. Again, this is a sample student, a sample population of Gen Zoomers who, without GPS, they would get lost. Yes or no?
Correct.
When you drive me around and I'm like 34th Street, make a left, Park Boulevard, make a right, does it register? Do you know where it is?
No.
Oh, damn. When they trained us in the academy, we're supposed to know every block and avenue. Do you know that even police officers present day right now, when they get into shootouts, especially in New York or somewhere in Nevada, sometimes they're in an alley and they're like, "Where are we? What's the address? What's the address?" You know that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, because they're like it just hits the fan. But when I went to the academy, we had to know every location before GPS was even around. We had to just know where we are. Let's see what else. Oh, auto corrections. This generation, have auto corrections on their phone. So therefore, tell us about the spelling thing with you know who.
So most people don't know how to spell because they're just so used to the autocorrect. They'll type something out and then they'll be like, "Oh, if it's turned off, they'll be like, is this spelled correctly?" Like turn over to their friend.
Give me some words that I don't know how to spell.
I don't know. It could be as simple as like advertisement. You know,
The word advertisement.
it could be just simple as that. You know,
What else? Shit.
important.
Oh,
I don't know.
this is not good. This is not. They can't spell important.
Probably not. I don't know. It's
Well,
just any word. Just
when-
any word.
when
It's
you-
just,
when
they're just
you-
so used to the autocorrect.
When you read through the CBT book, any words in here stood out to you? Some of these things, like, were you like, whoa, what's going on here?
Nah, I mean personally, I understood it all.
Do you know what heart palpitation is?
Yes.
What is palpitation?
Isn't that when like something stops or like
Irregular heartbeat?
yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Do you see all what I mean? Look at this kid. He's just cheesing. He's just smiling.
Maybe I'm one of them.
Maybe. Maybe. Can you spell validity?
VALIDITY.
Yeah. Yeah, right. He said, hey. You don't want me to keep going, right?
You can keep going.
You're sweating bullets right now.
No, I'm not sweating nothing. I got it.
Okay. All right. He does. He's got it. Well, that is not appropriate. Look at this. This is what our world has come
It's
to.
bots. I'm telling you, it's just the bots.
Tell the people what's happening here on YouTube.
This is bots.
No,
Bots
but
control.
tell everyone. They can't see this.
It says, like hot photo, my sister. Oh God.
Show.
Wrong.
There's a button here that says show. Oh hell. Oh, you know what? Perfect timing. Whoever's saying this, whether it's a bot or not a bot. Do you all see what I mean? Well, look what I. If that is a real human that just said that, that is really bad karma.
Yes, indeed.
That is really bad karma. You would never send that to His Holiness, so you would. We won't go there. See what I mean, folks? I'm sitting here talking about Buddhism, and we got somebody xxx69.biz wrote to me publicly on YouTube, like hot photo. I'm done. Okay, so let's talk about karma for a second. Today I had a medical procedure done, and I was in pain, was I not? And so this kid needed some white shirts, so we went. Where did we go for the white shirts?
Ross.
And how much did you get the white shirts for, and how many?
8 for 15.
Oh, there you go. And the price have gone up in comparison to. Tell the people what's gone up out there.
Everything. Anything you can think of. For example, the shirts. You could have bought one like a couple months ago for like $10. Now they're like 14 for a pack of 4 or 5. It's crazy.
You bought that with whose money?
Well,
it's your money. It's not nobody else's.
Yeah, money.
This kid very good at saving money. Another rare quality. See, that's what's right about you. See, even though you try to spell, but you're good at spelling anyway. See, you can spell, you can save money, you keep the precept, you're not stealing, killing, lying, cheating, raping people, and sexual all the C-list stuff, okay? So anyway, so he went and got shirts. Somewhere in that plaza, and mind you, we walked from Marshall to Ross to whatever to find the cheapest pack of shirt for this kid. And thank goodness this kid is like simple. Like, you wear a white shirt and what?
White shirt, black jeans every single day, or shorts.
So simple, so simple, so simple. And that's what I look for, simplicity in the student. And not all students are that simple. A lot of students are attached to self-image and self-performance and all these. We have to unravel all of that in Buddhism. We have to. So, anyways, so somewhere in the plaza, as I'm walking through the plaza, I go by a bookstore. It's a spirituality store. What is it called? Let me see this thing right here. Elysian Fields. Elysian Fields. So I go in there, look at some of these books, and I'm like, oh God, they're expensive. Like, oh my God. We get to the door, and there are these little tiny books. Right. So we have The Teachings of the Buddha here by Jack Kornfield. Everyone knows Jack Kornfield if you study Buddhism. Then we have this other one by the Dalai Lama, right? Everyone knows the Dalai Lama. Then this other one by Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh. Everyone knows Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh. Anyway, all these three books amounted to $27. Uh, and I said to Stephen, as you realize how long I stood there looking at these three small books, right?
Yep.
Because well, I now I have to. I use so much of my own money for my own programs. And I told Stephen, I said, Stephen, when you are driving, I take these little things out and I go back to some of the basic and I read it and I think about it and I try to expand on it and take my phone and spread the teachings even more for people. And I said, it's all right, Stephen. It's $27, whatever. It has to be done. Has to be done. And plus, when I'm traveling, sometimes I can't carry like this much books with me. Is heavy along with all of these other stuff for teaching. And I said many times throughout this week, and this student get to observe the workings of karma because I've told you. What have I told you about karma?
Karma always comes to you.
To who?
To you. To anyone.
Yeah, why me?
Because you give more, take less.
And I'm always thinking about the people, do I not?
Yes,
and when you're with me and I'm pulling out my phone, what's happening as I'm pulling out my phone? What is about to happen as I'm pulling out my phone? Everywhere we go.
I don't know. What is about to happen when you pull out your phone?
Think about it. Because I ain't FaceTiming people. What's happening? What's unfolding? Pull this up for you. So that you see this is draft there?
Oh, you're always recording.
Recording what?
Recording. TikTok videos.
For what?
For the students, for the people out there.
Uh
Always for the people.
To date, there is still 57, and I think the other phones also got like 10. So there's like 70 videos that have yet to be published.
Yeah, and the iPad. All those videos on there too.
On the iPad. Now,
Yep.
Why do you think when I'm walking and I'm always catching a Christmas tree and stuff like that, always thinking about teaching and spreading the teachings? Why?
Because you want to spread the word. You want to give more, right?
Do you think this is behavior consistent of a good monk?
Yeah.
Do you think this is what the Buddha wants me to do?
Yes.
Right. Because obviously the Buddha wouldn't want me to run around with y'all, texting somebody, FaceTiming somebody, talking nonsense, talking about what's going on with Pokemon and Goku, Gohan, Dragon Ball Z, whatever the hell's going on out there, right? Talking about the next show. I don't even know what's out there in the world because I'm busy spreading the teachings. So you have seen, and you've been with me for how long now? Well, notwithstanding 5 years, but close observations.
Year or two.
Okay. You see the workings of karma.
Yes, for sure.
And by the way, I'm no longer in pain from the medical procedure. It actually dissipated when I walked in.
Wow.
It dissipated.
That's crazy. Just like that.
6 needles went into the affected area. And any human tissue will tell you, your body will tell you, 6 needles going into an affected area is hell. And I was in hell in that car, was I not?
You was.
I wasn't having it. I couldn't even write my book because I got knocked out in the car. And you wonder why my laptop is out and I'm knocked out in the car, right? Because I was in pain.
Yeah.
But then when I came back, it dissipated. You went to the gym and it dissipated. And I've said it many times before in class, recently Sunday. Did I not say I have full faith and confidence in karma that when I do in fact suffer, I would not suffer that long?
You're right. You didn't suffer for that long.
Okay. So There goes Miss Veronica.
Have a good night.
Um, oh, Veronica, before you leave, I, I just carry on when I'm talking. But Veronica, I want you to know before you go to sleep. Um, let me tell her so that she doesn't. Veronica, are you still there? I don't want you to. Hold on.
I think she's still there.
I just want to give you some closing remarks before you go to. Why is Siri not working? I just want to give you a public shout out remarks before you go to bed. Good. Okay, good. What's going on? Miss Veronica, I want you and amongst many other donors, I want every single donor who, the very handful of you, number one, there'll be a wall dedicated for all of you. Doesn't matter how much amount that you have sent, because it is the intention behind what you've sent. Doesn't matter if you sent 25 cents. It does not matter. It is equivalent to $500. Does not matter. It is the intent that is volition in the teachings of karma that is most important. And you sit there, and I want you to reap everything that you have sowed and that you are sowing for all of these sample students in the past and in the present and in the foreseeable future. And directly from Miss Veronica, who is the most recent donor of this request, that really sleep joyful at night. Because it's not about me, it's about your own karma. Now you have publicly shared about the loss of your son. In the teachings in the Kudaka Sutta, that you are sharing the merits with your departed loved ones. That meant if your loved one did not take the possibility that your loved one did not take favorable rebirth or have not attained nirvana, nibbana in Pali, when we share these merits with them, with the departed, that they have a likely chance in the next realm to take a more favorable rebirth. And that is very comforting. And that is why I am a monk, and that is why I stay as a monk for all of the departed relatives in my own family. My recent uncle, who passed away of stomach cancer 2 years ago, and then my grandmother from many, many, many years ago. So I do this for my own karma and to share the merits. So, Miss Veronica, you have a wonderful night over there and rejoice as you're living the life that the Buddha wants you to live. You're doing exactly what the Buddha wants you to do. And across all religions have taught give more and take less. And so we thank you and to be the primary example of what is right in our society nowadays. And you have a good night. As I expand on this talk, I just wanted to capture this moment before you went to sleep. And back to our talk. And the reason why I stopped everything tonight, I was supposed to continue working on my book. I've already sent half of my chapters. They're waiting on the other half. They're not impressed with me right now. The publishing companies probably like, what is happening here? We don't know what's happening here. I skipped one of the chapters, just caught it in the car before I got knocked out. Nirota, the cessation of suffering, and nirvana, and I just kind of like cited my source and then just didn't expand on it. So that's bad. And I submitted it, so they're not impressed with me right now. So we were supposed to carry on tonight. Steve was supposed to show them what you were doing. Show them how I'm training you in mindfulness with that white folder. What is it? What is it in this white folder?
It's keeping an hourly schedule.
What does that mean?
You just write down every hour what you're doing, or if you're like say you're sleeping, you just connect a time to another time, connect it together and write what you're doing. Same thing if you're working, you just connect the time that you get in and the time you get out, and you just put that you're working.
What is the point of an hourly journal?
To make yourself more mindful. Right?
About what?
More mindful about your day.
Yeah. And how's that important for everyday life?
It's important by everyday life, by um well, that goes back to what I was saying before, by being present.
And before this journal came along, before this hourly journal came along, how were you spending your time? And how are your friends spending their time? In each hour of the day, how do you think they're spending their time?
Well, personally, I was always on my phone, always watching pointless videos, scrolling through YouTube shorts or even TikToks. I just catch myself um, getting caught just scrolling. So instead of doing that, now I just read and write.
How do you think this hourly journal can benefit your generation?
I think it would benefit everybody by um, not having them as consumed in their phone and also being mindful and reading, which is both beneficial.
So clearly, you all see part of direct supervision from the teacher is that you gotta remember these devilish kids right here. These devilish kids right here. They always try and find stuff to do to keep their mind always occupied. Before I came along, what did you do to keep your mind occupied on your devilish phone?
What did I do to keep my mind occupied?
Yeah, because you obviously did not grab your phone and was like, oh, the life of Buddha is great. We knew that he had a kid when he was 16 and he got married at da 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 and he had a son named Rahula. You obviously were not doing that.
Definitely
So
not.
what were you doing before I came along?
Like I said, I was scrolling through the YouTube shorts or just watching pointless videos.
Anything else you'd like to confess?
That's all.
That's all?
Yep, that's all.
Would you like your lawyer present during questioning?
Yes.
You do? Would you like to plead the fifth and not incriminate yourself?
Yep, exactly. Plead the fifth.
This is a sample of how I retrain their minds by and through the hourly journal. That's one. Then CBT, then the notes on CBT, and how just the other day I was reviewing it with him. Right. So when you follow along on, especially on YouTube, you get to capture how I supervise them, how I directly hold them responsible for the assignment that was given, and they have to make best and good use of it. And lastly, I want to wrap up with this. It's been 42 minutes. The day that we met Christy at Olive Gardens, and the salad came out, and before we consumed the salad, she asked for a blessing, which is something I was supposed to do. People shouldn't ask me for a blessing because I'm supposed to already know how to do it. Now, do you know why I didn't do it?
Why?
Just because I don't think that they would understand what's happening here. So most Western students, they're just like, huh, and they're hungry. So that and I think she told me it was her birthday.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to. Okay, well, But anyways, I approach each student differently. So anyway, so when she asked for the blessing, do you remember? Okay. Do you remember what I said during the blessing when I held my hand? Which was not captured, darn it, which was not captured on live. But it was a very rare thing that I said. Do you remember what I said?
No, I did not.
How do you not remember?
I just remember you giving thanks for the food and
Reflect on it. Reflect on it. What else did I say? I said something very important in that. Yeah, I did give thanks for the food.
yes, you did.
We're testing his hippocampus memory. So all that weed does to you, huh?
Yep.
Weed.
Horrible.
All that kush did to you. When I gave the blessing, I said, may we give thanks to the food that is offered here for the nourishment of our body, and that we are to use the energy and calories out of this food to contribute to the benefit of humanity. Do you remember that?
Now I remember that. I say it.
Now you remember. I have to remember 84,000 teachings. You could remember what I uttered sentences days ago. And then he laughs. No wonder why they need mindfulness training.
Yep, that's why I'm doing this. And this.
And so you must realize why I gave those words. Because she offered to pay for the food that we're going to consume. We should not consume that food and then run around mindlessly watching Netflix. That to me is a sin. And I'm using the word sin here because, well, number one, we don't use it in Buddhism. We call it wholesome or unwholesome, kusala, akusala. But I just wanted to just press a little bit harder because everyone knows what a sin means, right? So I just bear with me with this explanation. As a monk, when someone offers food, nonetheless money, offers food for me to eat, that's what we're supposed to do. The calories that goes into our body for the nourishment to extend the longevity of this human body, we have to use our speech, mind, and actions for the benefit of humanity. Period. Right?
Yes.
So therefore, I took that as a very educational moment, and I, of course, this was before I knew what her intention was, and then I fired up my thingy because I mean, I just don't know. I just, you know what I mean. And then she started talking about foster kids and how to raise foster kids, and I was like, okay, this is important. Let me fire this thing up, this iPad up for a live YouTube. So you guys missed that. You guys can go back. It's a very deep talk as I'm trying to like stuff my face. Um, so, anyways, that is the standard in Theravada Buddhism. Is that when anything is being offered to the monk for the monastery for whatever reason, we have to translate that either it is resources or food or water for the benefit of humanity. Everything we do, it cannot go to waste. Because of that standard, it gives rise, meaning, and purpose in life. Because remember Sunday when I said people just eat, poop, sleep, sex. Eat, poop, sleep, sex. They don't do anything with their life, right? To help other people that is in need. They don't think about other people. They're not thoughtful about other people, right? They just eat, poop, sleep, and procreate, right?
Yeah.
And you see that's how the world is very self-centered. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
With all the food, you know, you used to work at Publix, you see all the food that's being wasted, all the bread,
Yep.
expired and stuff like that.
Yep. All the bread, fruits, and meat.
Have you ever wondered if people ate and used the energy that was given to them, the miraculous energy? Do you know that when you eat food and it gives you energy, it's like a miracle happening inside of your body? All sorts of things has to go right for that to happen. And people don't realize that some people are on like feeding tubes,
Yeah, you're right. People are on that.
feeding tubes, struggling to survive. And so, again, these talks deserve wise reflection. And yeah, when you sit there and you like, why am I like a sloth? Why are you like a sloth? You know, get up, get out, do something, benefit somebody. Think about other people. We suffer less when we think about ourselves. We suffer less when we think about other people. We suffer more when we turn inwards. All about me, mine, I, me, mine, and I. So, anyways, I wanted to conclude this talk. And again, for this holiday, it is my continuous encouragement for all of you to think about other people. You need not to donate to my program. You could donate to St. Jude Cancer Foundation or your local hospice, or also known as Empath. All of these great nonprofit organization that is out there that is doing that's tirelessly continuing to contribute for the benefit of humanity and to alleviate and mitigate suffering in the world. My program is just one small dent in the whole system of our society of suffering. And today we wanted to tonight I wanted to thank Miss Veronica Gomez and the many donors over the past month, and within the entirety of my monkhood. And you're gonna have to write down the list of everyone on when you go back to the PayPal and all of
Yep.
that. I promised people I was gonna do a shout out for them. I never had the time to do that. This is one thing after competing projects. But thank you all for being wonderful listeners. And again, you all can also donate more cognitive behavioral therapy books to my dad's office. And as you all also noticed, I have policies on top of policies when it comes to receiving fundings and resources. And it actually goes to my dad, who is a professor of law, who is still doing immigration law. And you notice that the money goes to my dad. The money
Yeah.
doesn't even go to me.
Yeah, you're right.
And someone always have to have oversight over the money. Did you hold on? Did you? I don't think you caught that. Let me see this. When you looked at that, hold on. Let me see here real quick. It doesn't show. I don't. Darn it. But hold on. You see that?
No.
It goes to my dad. So that way there is you Kwang Hong it has my picture but my dad's name, just so that, and that is to ensure that the money's going in the right place and someone else knows about it. You know what I'm saying? So he is, because he's ethical and he is a member of the courts. He is a judicial officer under the capacity of an interpreter, also. And again, he's been here for 27 years. Everyone knows Mr. Kwang Hong in Pinellas Park, Florida, Florida, Tampa, Florida. Everyone travels everywhere across the country to get their immigration cases done down here. Um, so it ensure, and for future monastics who are training, again, anytime we have your own program, always have, you know, a lot of people overseeing what's happening. Live the blameless life. Always think about the blameless life. Oh, look at that. You can glance through that too. Um, let me show the people real quick. Some of the fundings will go to CPT journals, and additionally, Miss Veronica Gomez's funding will actually go to workbooks. So these accompany the original books, so that I don't trust these kids. I don't trust you. You know why I don't trust you?
Why?
Well, actually, I do trust you. I don't trust your mind.
Hmm.
Well, I had to rephrase that. That just sounded harsh. Are we still cool, bro? Pound it. I don't trust your mind. I don't trust the minds of little ones, because my job is to instill and install this mindfulness software in them. And that is, you read it, but it doesn't mean that they remember it. So therefore, they have to go through the CBT journal and other exercises. That's why, folks, when we were in college and high school, remember those days where we had, like, like you read a paragraph and you had to like really talk about who said what, the protagonist, the antagonist, and what is the summary of the story. Remember that? So, anyways, so the fundings goes to that. Um, all right, I've already mentioned what the fundings go to in previous talks. I don't need to sit here and just repeat myself. It's at night. We gotta get some sleep. Anyways, may you all be well, be happy, be free. Let me give you all my blessing, the blessing verse. Yatha varivaha pura paripuranti sakarang ewamewa ito dinang petanang upakapati ichitang patitang tamhang kipamewa samechatu sape purentu sankapachando panyaraso yatha manicho tiraso yatha sapi tiyo wiwanjang tasa paro agoa wina satumate fawan tuan tarayo suki Dehayuko bawa abiwan dan nasile sanicang buta bajani no chataro Dhammawatan diayuano sokang palang bawata sapamang kalang rakan sapadi wada sapabuta anupawen sarasoti Bhavantu te bhavata sappa mangalang rakantu sappa devata sappa tamma nufavena sarasoti bhavantu te bhavata sappa mangalang rakantu sappa devata sappa sankha nufavena sarasoti bhavantu te. May you rejoice in all of the givings that you have, all of the actions that you have taken in regards to giving, and now how that benefits humanity. May you rejoice in this memory and access this memory anytime, any moment of the day, knowing that you help so much all that is in need, especially during holidays, where depression and anxiety is most prevalent, where suicide is most prevalent. May you reflect on the teachings of the Buddha on giving more and taking less in life. May your suffering be mitigated as a result of giving. May your karmic debt improve in the sharing of the merits. May all of your departed benefit from the sharing of the merits because of your actions here on earth. May you all be healed and be a source of healing for other people. May you realize the light of your own true nature. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, all right. Yes.